Hi, it's Rachel, and I'm going to just do another video right now, focusing a little more on the core and doing some ab work. So this would not be something I would recommend for anyone who's pregnant. If you have lots of issues with your low back, it might not all be stuff you want to do. You could check out what you feel comfortable doing. And we'll just see how it goes. If you would like to have blocks or a belt handy, feel free to use them. I'm trying to minimize my use of props in these videos so people who don't have props at home can continue along with us. So let's start on our back. I'm taking a few deep breaths here with your feet on the floor. Arms out to either side. Feel the shoulder blades opening away from each other. Taking a few breaths. Making any adjustments you need to if it feels appropriate. I know I always start out leaning a little more to one side or the other and have to squirm my way to center. Good. And as you breathe here, noticing your body, just make a commitment to be respectful of your body's boundaries. Those include emotional boundaries, so don't do anything that's uncomfortable for you. Good. And then we'll bring our right knee in toward the chest. Draw both shoulders down away from the ears. And if you'd like to lengthen the left leg out long, flexing the foot, you can. If you want to keep that foot on the floor, definitely do so. And again, don't overuse the arms to stretch the leg here. And lengthen down with the tailbone a little bit towards that left heel. Good. Okay, then we're going to stretch up through that right leg. And if you want to bring the left foot back onto the floor, you definitely can at any point. Do a few ankle circles. And then whichever way you were going, go in the opposite direction. And remember, if you've had an injury or something and ankle circles aren't good for you, don't do them. Stretch up through your right foot. You are the expert on your body. These are all just suggestions. Good. Just take one or two more breaths. And then bring that right knee back into the chest. Put the right foot on the floor. Hug the left knee into the chest. You could either keep the right foot on the floor or stretch it out long, keeping that foot flexed. And again, don't overuse the arms to stretch the leg. Feel the tailbone stretching down towards the heel, so you're keeping length in the low back. Keep breathing into the back of the chest, and then as it's comfortable, unhinge that left leg and begin to rotate that left ankle. Whew. And going in the opposite direction. Lovely. Stretching straight up through that left heel. Nice work. And then bend that left knee, put the left foot on the floor. Okay, we're going to go ahead and bring our hands behind the back of the head now. Draw the shoulder blades back down away from the ears. And we're gonna lift our feet up off the floor if this is comfortable for you. At any point, put your feet back on the floor. Good. If your feet are off the floor, knees are above the hips, draw the shoulder blades down away from the ears and lift the breastbone straight up towards the ceiling. So I'm not really rounding here. I'm lengthening my abs. Good. And then I'm going to turn both of my elbows towards the left knee, and I'm going to stretch my right leg out. And then when I inhale, I'm going to draw my right leg back and bring my torso back to center. And then when I exhale, I'm going to bring both of my elbows towards my right knee and stretch my left leg out. And then when I inhale, I'm going to come back to center. And do a few of these at your own pace. Again, modification, you could put one foot on the floor and stretch out the opposite leg if this gets challenging. Good, just a couple more, following your own pattern of breath. Coming back to center. Come back to the floor, take a couple of breaths, feet on the floor, drawing the shoulders down away from the ears. Good. Okay, and then stretching your legs gently up towards the ceiling. We're going to bend your knees a little bit and cross your right ankle over your left. And you'll see my ankles are roughly above my hips and my knees are slightly bent. Then I'm taking my hands behind the back of my head with the fingers interlaced. And I'm going to draw my elbows up towards the ceiling. And I'm going to draw my low ribs down towards my hips so I'm not popping up here. Now, without clenching my jaw, I'm going to keep the upper edge of my pelvis, my sacrum, on the floor. But I'm going to lift my tailbone. Just lift my tailbone up off the floor, and I'm trying to lift it straight up, not like rock my pelvis here, but just lift straight up. It's a tiny movement. Then I'm going to lift my breastbone up towards the ceiling. And again, it's a really tiny movement. It's not a big curve here. And then I'm relaxing my jaw, and I'm going to simultaneously lift the tailbone and breastbone a little higher up and come back down. Now, we're going to do that 4 more times, unless you don't want to, in which case, go do something else for a few moments. That's totally fine. Feel free to take a break. Okay, so we're going to lift that tailbone up, lift the elbows up, lift the breastbone up, and then lift the breastbone and the tailbone both up and come down. Shoulders drop away from ears. Lift the tailbone up. Lift the breastbone up. Lift them both up. And come on down. Just 2 more. Lift the tailbone up. Lift the breastbone up. Lift them both up. And come down. 1 more. Tailbone lifts, breastbone lifts, both lift. Come on down. Take note of which index finger is on top in your interlace. And then release onto your back for a few breaths, noticing your belly, noticing your back. How'd that feel? Okay, now we're going to take that on the second side. So this time I'm interlacing with the other index finger in front. I'm crossing my left ankle over my right. And again, I'm going to do 5 total. We're going to do the first one slowly because we did the first one slowly on the first side too. So, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. I was just adjusting my hips if you noticed my little shimmy. Might want to check that your hips are even. And then lift the tailbone up, keeping the upper edge of your sacrum on the floor. Elbows lift towards the ceiling, lift the breastbone up towards the ceiling. And hold, this is just a small movement, right? Not a lot of rounding in the back. Okay, now we're gonna lift up both the breastbone and the tailbone simultaneously. Good, and come on down. Whew, 4 more. Lift that tailbone up. Lift the breastbone up. Lift them both up. And come on down. And we'll lift the tailbone up. Lift the breastbone up. Lift them both up. And come down. Just 2 more. Tailbone lifts, breastbone lifts, both lift, and come down. And 1 more. Tailbone lifts, breastbone lifts, both lift, and come down. Notice your belly. Take a couple of breaths here. Now let's roll onto one side. And come onto all 4s. Let's see how much time we got. Okay. So we're gonna come onto all 4s here. And as always, make an alternative by coming onto your forearms or your knuckles if it's inappropriate for your wrists to be flat on your hands. And we're going to start in a neutral position here, so not coming up into a arch like a cat or sinking into a cow. We're going to keep ourselves very neutral. I call this like a bench. You're not a hammock, you're a bench here. So you want a nice broad space between the shoulder blades and a nice support system through the back ribs here. And then I'm going to take my right leg up off the floor and press back through my right heel strongly at shoulder height, keeping my core engaged to support my hips in a somewhat parallel position, I hope. And again, if you'd like to, stretch forward with that left arm. This can be a challenging balance for some people. Don't do it if it doesn't feel good. Always feel free to put the left hand back down on the floor. Then we're going to put that left hand down and that right leg down. Draw your shoulder blades back away from the ears. Keep supporting that bench. Lift that left leg up. Whew. I noticed a big shift in my weight, so recenter. Flexing that left foot. And if you'd like to lift up the right arm, do so. And keep breathing. Remember, you don't have to do anything that doesn't feel comfortable for you. And put that right hand down. Put that left knee down. Notice how that felt. Okay, and if it's comfortable for you, come back into downward facing dog pose. If that is not part of your practice, you'll do cat-cow stretches. If you're doing dog pose, feel the belly supporting the length of the spine here. We just did a lot of ab work. Feel that your core supports you here as well. Draw the shoulder blades back away from your ears. Soften your jaw. Good. We're going to move forward from here into plank position. If plank is not something you're comfortable practicing, come to all 4s. Good. And now we're going to slowly lower towards the floor. If you'd like to put your knees on the floor, do so. And we'll just lower on down. Coming onto our bellies, you can turn your head to one side. Take a couple of breaths. And then bringing your hands beneath your shoulders. Just inhale up into a very low cobra, like low enough that you can bring your hands up off the floor if you wanted to. Drawing the ribs down towards the hips and the hips down towards the feet and the feet back towards the wall behind you. Really feeling a lot of backward length there. But then the breastbone and the collarbones want to come forward. And keep breathing and lower down. If you're turning your head to one side, turn it to the other side. Come back to center. Let's bring our arms into Sphinx pose. Elbows are beneath the shoulders, forearms are parallel. Try to avoid bringing the hands closer than the elbows. I'm drawing back through my pubic bone towards my heels, drawing down through my shoulder blades, but I'm also bringing my ribs. As I bring my shoulder blades forward into my ribs, I'm also bringing my ribs back into my shoulder blades here. So there's work in both directions. There's that little bit of work there. And then if you're feeling comfortable here, stay in this position. If you'd like to go deeper, only as much as feels comfortable and without lifting the shoulder blades, you can lift the elbows up, drop through the inner shoulder blades, lengthen forward through the breastbone and the collarbones. And then we'll lower our elbows down and roll back down. And we'll push back to all fours. And I blocked my clock. And then come back onto your back again. And draw your knees into your chest. And just begin to do some knee circles here. Just whatever feels comfortable. I'm supporting my hands on my knees. I'm rolling around the sacrum. I'm kind of rolling around the back of my pelvis. That feels good. Come back to center. Lovely. Putting your feet on the floor. Draw your shoulder blades back away from your ears. Arms on the floor. Press down with your palms. Palms down. Relax the jaw away from the ears. Relax the jaw down. And then begin to roll up with the pelvis, only as much as feels okay through your back and your knees, any amount towards bridge pose. Pushing in slightly into the floor with the arms. If that position's uncomfortable for your shoulders, always feel free to just turn more onto the pinky side of your hand, right? That was just a suggestion. And then we're going to roll back down. And we're going to do 2 of those slow rolls if that felt good. If this does not feel good, come into a hamstring stretch. Just do one side while we go up the first time and the other side when we go up the second time. Okay, pushing down into the feet. Feel yourself rolling up. And hold for a few breaths. Don't feel like you have to hold your breath. Try not to let your thighs splay out. Only come up as high as feels okay. And let's roll back down. And very last time. Roll on up. Good. Notice how you're feeling. Roll on down. Roll to one side. And come on up to sitting. Sorry to make you get up. We're about to do Shavasana, but one thing that stuck with me from my early training is I was taught not to do reclining twists after back bends. Like really deep reclining twists after really deep back bends, because the reclining twists we tend to use gravity more. just the position of the body. We use gravity to make the spine twist more than we do in the seated twists. And you really want a gentler twist on your spine after back bending. So with that in mind, be gentle with your body as we do this next seated twist. I'm sitting cross-legged. You can sit in any position that's comfortable for you. I'm going to take my left hand towards my right leg, my right hand to the floor behind me. But again, I'm trying to let the spine move gently because we just did a back bend. So I'm not going to pull with my arms. And for me, that's really hard. For me, the hardest part is not working. So notice if that's your tendency too. Noticing your breathing. And we'll come back to center. If you are sitting cross-legged, switch to the second side. And then we'll bring the right hand towards the left leg, left hand to the floor behind you. And again, I'm trying to use the arms to support me a little bit here. Especially I'm using that left hand in the floor to help me lengthen up through my side body. But I'm trying not to pull my spine deeply into a twist now. Not at all. Keep breathing. Unwind back to center. Okay. I'm going to say namaste and send you off to Shavasana. Think about perhaps lengthening your exhalation if that feels comfortable. In some of the other videos, we've done some breath work with the hands on the belly, noticing our breath before Shavasana. If that's helpful for you, feel free to practice that. Thank you for doing some abs with me today. Namaste, and do please give yourself a good Shavasana.